Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. You're here with Bookish Plants. My name is Odalis and I am here and I'm back with a new video for you guys. Today it will be a review. Before I get into the review, I just want to say thank you to the people who left really nice comments on my last video, kind of like my first video into the book community. And so thank you so much for putting in your comment and for leaving a nice message. It made me feel really welcome and it made me feel a little bit more confident. And so just thank you. Again, if you would like to watch it, it's in the it's in the description. I'll put a link to it if you're interested in watching that. But for now, we are going to be moving on to a book review that I have for today. And today's book review, my first book review, will be on the book Misery by Stephen King. And so this book was pretty interesting. Just like kind of a brief synopsis. Um, this book follows Paul Sheldon, who is a world renowned author. In this book, you could say, he's a world renowned author. He is best known for writing his Misery series, kind of following like this woman and her friends as they kind of get into kind of like messy relationships or whatever, right? And pretty much he's really well known for this. And when we catch up with him in the book, he is actually finished with writing the series. And so he's kind of off doing his own thing. He's currently, like, I guess, kind of like on vacation, kind of like on a road trip by himself to kind of rediscover his passion and to continue on his other series. However, what happens is he ends up getting into a really bad car crash and pretty much wrecks his car. He becomes completely, I guess, immobile. His legs are like, they are pretty much crushed as well. And what follows is that once he gets out of the wreck, he's actually taken into the care of Annie Wilkes, who is our other main character. She is actually an ex or a former nurse, and she pretty much takes it on herself to kind of nurse him back to health. And it's crazy because she just so happens to be a huge fan of Paul Sheldon. So I guess she pretty much recognizes Paul Sheldon and, decides that, yeah, I'm going to take care of him. However, things aren't quite correct or quite right with Annie Wilkes. She is a bit obsessed with the stories that he's written as well as his own person. So she takes it upon herself to try to nurse him back to health, but also pretty much keeps him hostage the entire time and tortures him and tries to control him. And his only way of escape or his only way of freedom is by writing yet another Misery Chastain novel. So for him, it's like it's a completely terrible thing to do because he was just done with the series. He didn't want to read any more of it, and so he was just done with the whole series. And so his only way back now, his only way to freedom now is to write yet another series after he has pretty much finished his whole story with that character. Um, and so, yeah, pretty much that kind of follows that, pretty much summarizes the whole thing. I won't go into more details because I don't want this to be kind of like a spoilery review. I just kind of want to give my general thoughts on it. Overall, this book actually isn't that bad. It's pretty good. It's not completely and like it's not too scary like how other people consider Stephen King novels. It's pretty suspenseful. I think it's more of a psychological thriller, more of a, like a suspense in that way. Not too much gore, not too much like scary things necessarily. But it was just an interesting read overall. One thing I did have an issue with this novel is the fact that Paul Sheldon he himself is an author, and I just felt like Stephen King at some points in the story he started implementing himself into the character, which I mean I understand because they are both authors, and so it's very natural for him to kind of consider himself as the character as well. But there were just some parts where I felt like Paul Sheldon was going a little too much into like his craft and how he writes and stuff like that, to the point where I felt like Stephen King was telling us how he also writes. And I mean, I guess that's fine. Obviously, it's his novel, whatever. But to a point, it just felt like it was Stephen King, putting himself in Paul Sheldon's shoes, which, I mean, yeah, I guess I kind of understand. But I'm also like, you're not Paul Sheldon, and Paul Sheldon isn't Stephen King. Um, so that's one thing. I also would say that if you are interested in reading this, it is a bit of a slow start. I think because most of the book, it kind of really centers only on two characters. So there really is only so much dialogue you can get, and there really isn't a lot, at least for the beginning, there really isn't. And so you're kind of mostly in the mind of Paul Sheldon and what he's thinking and what he's, feeling and how he's handling everything. And so I definitely do think that it is a bit of a slow start. And so if you're willing to get past like maybe like the first couple hundred pages, then I think you should be okay. It definitely picks up towards the end, which I felt was a little bit more is what saved its rating a little bit, for in my opinion. But yeah, I do think that it was a bit slow. It wasn't bad, but as soon as you get past the slow parts and it starts to pick up a little bit more, then I think it's a lot more enjoyable. Um, I would also say that there are some things that I feel like could have been cut out. Again, kind of referring back to the way Paul Sheldon kind of gives us his own like theories or his own creative process with writing. It's like I felt like some of those things could have been cut down a little bit more. But overall, I mean, I think it was pretty good. Annie Wilkes is she's quite the character that you will hopefully find out as well. But yeah, she definitely is quite the character. She is she's a really fun person to read on. And so I actually as a I guess kind of villain or protagonist, I think she is a pretty good one. So, that's just my opinion. But yeah, that was kind of my short, brief review of Misery by Stephen King. Again, would I recommend people reading it? Yeah, sure, but it's not, for me personally, it's not the most memorable book I have read. And yeah, I think if you don't mind kind of a lot of internal thoughts and you don't mind kind of like a slow beginning, and then I think you should be fine with reading this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, I would give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I think that's my final rating. Again, it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. It was pretty entertaining. It was pretty fun. But it wasn't my favorite. So this stays for me at a 3. So that's pretty much it. That's what I have for today. It was a very brief video, but again, I'm still trying to get used to doing like I'm still trying to get used to doing like reviews and catching up on videos and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. I did finish it a couple months back, and so my memory isn't quite, well, my feelings are still very much vivid because I write them down, but still, it's not a long video, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching. If you did watch, if you did like the video, if you did like the review, then by all means give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe. I would very much be happy to have you on my channel, and just being there, we can support each other, we can talk about books together. If you read Misery and you liked it, or you have a different opinion on it than what I have, then by all means put it in the comments. Let's start a conversation. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll leave my social media in the description and somewhere around here. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.